My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
So we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something.
Anything.
That will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Hello. As always, we are here live every second Tuesday of the month. It just so happens that we are here again, surprisingly enough. You know what? I'm going to take this little button off because it's kind of my face a little bit.
It does. It looks like what is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like the sun.
I don't like it, whatever it is. There we go. Much better. All right. So we're thrilled to have you with us again. If you're watching this live or whether you're watching this after the fact, we're excited to have you. Thank you for joining us on this foray. It's only a third live one. So
we're still kind of, getting used to it.
Getting our sea legs under us is what they used to say back in the olden days.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, today we are actually well accompanied. So it's not just us. You're not going to have to listen to us for the entire hour. We actually have someone that's been on the show before. He is one of our favorite guests. He has sat with notable people like the Dalai Lama and Mother Teresa, Wayne Dyer, and Ram Dass. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to mention the other person that he mentions on his bio because it's got a bad name. But he has actually learned an awful lot by interviewing over 100 spiritual teachers. And every time he comes on the show, he blows our mind. So I'm thrilled to welcome back to the show today, Jonathan Robinson. Jonathan, it's a pleasure to see you again. How you been?
I've been really good. Great to be here again.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you, especially because today we're going to be talking about all the gadgets and doodads and cool stuff that there is out there now for expansion of consciousness, right?
There's gadgets?
There's gadgets, there's doodads and stuff.
Yeah, I have about 50 of them at my home. It's like a museum of old and new gadgets for affecting consciousness.
Wow.
I can't wait to dive into it because on the list that you sent me, I read the first thing and I went, that's a cool topic. And I read the second thing and I went, oh, but wait, and then went the third, okay. So we're just going to talk about as many of them as we can in the time that is allotted to us. So Jonathan, what is happening in the field of consciousness that is exciting you right now?
Well, every field nowadays is going through this acceleration, whether it be accounting, or manufacturing because of AI. And let's see, are you still there?
Yeah, we are. We just bringing you. We're spotlighting you. So
great. Yeah. So every field is going through that, and consciousness is one of those. So I have listed, and we'll talk about any of these, but 5 areas where consciousness is going into new unexplored fields. It's kind of like Star Trek, you don't know where it's going to go. So one of those fields is gadgets. I've been collecting these gadgets for a long time. They've generally been pretty bad.
Well, thanks for your candor, Jonathan.
Yeah, no, I have money, so I spend money on it. I use it once or twice, and I go, that's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But in the last year or two, they've gotten a lot better. So I actually now use them pretty consistently. And there's things from everything from how to help you to sleep better to how to tap into bliss states through EEG feedback to photobiomodulation to all kinds of stuff that is now starting to get, that's worth it. That makes meditation easy.
So is that what we're talking about specifically is gadgets to help you with meditation, or is there other types of gadgets involved?
Well, there's all kinds. I'll show you a couple right now. This is called Moonbeam. You put in your hand while you're going to sleep and it expands. You probably can't see it, but it expands and contracts, and you pace your breath to it. What that does is there's a certain breath that is actually most conducive to sleep. So for people who have a hard time sleeping, if you don't sleep well, it's hard to feel good. Yeah. So, you just kind of hold this and you breathe at the pace that it's expanding and contracting. This thing right here is called the Sensate. It's actually a necklace that goes where your chest is, and it vibrates in a certain way that tends to open your heart.
Oh.
So
Wow.
some of them are EEG bands that give you feedback on how your brain waves are.
Right.
There's a helmet that puts red light into your brain that has been shown to help with cognitive impairment like dementia, but it has a lot of health benefits. There's all kinds of stuff out there now that is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
So I have a degree in anthropology. So I love, the study of cultures and the evolution and all of that. So speaking of evolution, do you have knowledge of any really kind of older gadgets, like from back in the day, that were just crazy that people created to try to help them get to that conscious level?
Well, the simplest one was a talking stick. Have you ever used that in like a ceremony? You make a stick and one person gets to hold it and they talk from their heart and nobody interrupts. There's no feedback. And that was a way that ancient cultures would get really below the surface and invoke spirit. Right. And that was a very powerful technology. Now we like the glittering electronic things, but I've been to a lot of ceremonies where people have a stick like that, and you see and hear stuff from them that you would never see and hear before. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then if someone gets unruly, you got something to hit them with.
Exactly.
It's a double purpose. You really get your bang for your buck there.
So one of the things that you had in your hand there, you called it a sensate. I remember there was a TV show a while back. It was done by the creators of The Matrix, the Wachowski brothers, who became sisters, I think is right. But it was called Sensate, and it was about a group of people from all around the world who would connect with each other. I think they were like soulmates or something along those lines, and they would be able to connect with each other and like take over each other's bodies to give them the skill sets or things like that. So is this something that's going to make me able to do that with other people? Because that'd be really cool.
Well, not with this thing, but I think that show, which I think was called Sensate 8,
yes,
they actually have machines now where you hook up like me, you, and Karen, and you hear everybody's heartbeat. And what happens is people's heartbeats tend to synchronize. Right. And when your heartbeat synchronizes or your breath synchronizes, you feel this strange type of connection. And actually, there's been studies shown that can help with telepathy and things like that. So there's all kinds of nifty things being invented now.
I think that might be really good for a family.
That's so interesting, because when I was little, our family used to send us, my sister and I, they would send us to Ecuador to go spend some time with my mother's family. We'd go every summer. And I remember being a little girl and laying in bed trying to go to sleep. And I would stop my breathing several different times and change it because I wanted to, at some point, think that I was breathing the same as my mother.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a thing. I didn't know it was a thing. I was like 6.
Right. Well, where can someone buy such a magical item? Where can you get that stuff?
That item you can't get it yet, but you can look up Sensate or look up Moonbird for the other two. Although here's something that you can do that's low tech. In one of my books that became a bestseller, I talked about how you can avoid all arguments. And this is a technique that involves spooning with your partner and then breathing together.
Oh.
And the combination of spooning, where usually the man is in back, the woman is in front, and breathing together ends up feeling this great sense of connection. And even if you want to stay angry at your partner, what happens is you start to feel really connected and the anger goes away.
Wow.
Jay Leno thanked me on the Tonight Show for saving his marriage, because he said that actually saved his marriage.
Wow. Well,
Wow.
I've got another. There's 2 words that really help. I mean, it's like a magic. All you need is it's like your world's most important,
mantra.
right? It's like the world's most powerful mantra, right? When you went to that story in our show.
Oh, right.
I know 2 words that will immediately diffuse every situation, and that is yes, dear.
Yes, dear. Or
yes, dear.
Or here's
I'm
3
wrong.
words. I was wrong. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard to get in the mood to spoon with someone when you're mad at them. It's more like, don't touch me.
You will breathe with me.
Right.
But I can imagine that really would work. You know, 'cause, you can't be mad at someone if you're trying to, breathe together and.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, so there is this device that synchronizes your hearts. You can't buy it yet. But so how did you know about it? How did you find out?
Well, just like the field of being a podcaster, other podcasters, when you're in this field of consciousness gadgets, you learn about all the people. This guy graduated from MIT and he's a roboticist, but he wants to come up with gadgets that connect people, because right now people feel so disconnected from each other. There's so much polarization.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons why, I got into things like psychedelics, which is it's not a new gadget, but the use of them in groups. I lead individual and group MDMA sessions.
Mhm.
And that is another way to connect. So you got to be responsible about this stuff, but there's a real need for people to feel that sense of community. And if it's a gadget or a psychedelic or a workshop, those are all helpful things.
Something that recently happened, I'm sure you're aware of it, that I think really helped kind of give us as a country a little bit of that sense of community, were the peace monks, or I guess the walk for peace. They weren't the peace monks, but we called them like the peace monks.
The peace monks.
So I stalked them on Facebook, and we actually got to go see them.
Oh,
And
great.
by the side of the road, and it was fun. It was one night, it was 5:00 at night. I'm like, they're going to be in Richmond tomorrow. That's 2 hours away. Everyone get in the car. We got the dog because we couldn't find someone to watch it that late at night. And we drove through like terrible weather, and we got to see them. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And everyone just kind of rallied. Like they were like the gadget, like a moving, living, breathing gadget that I think helped really kind of bring that sense of peace and community to everyone.
I think they might take offense at being called a gadget.
Well,
One aspect of technology which I found interesting is Zoom, what I would call Zoom meditation. So there's teachers in India and Ireland and Europe that will meditate at certain times, and you can go on their Zooms and meditate with them. And I talk about skeptic. I said, well, this is total BS.
Right. You read my mind.
Yeah. Now, I've meditated with a lot of gurus in India, and you can definitely feel their energy.
But in person, though, right? Right when you're there.
Yeah. And that made some sense, at least, you're in their energy field or whatever. So when this happened over Zoom, I thought, well, I'll try it, but this is not really going to happen.
You didn't pay anything for that, did you?
I was overwhelmed with their energy.
Really?
What?
Yeah. No, my experience and my beliefs were definitely at odds. So I had all my friends go to these Zoom meditations, and I said, tell me if you experience anything. And every single one said, yeah, I'm blown away. So then we tried blind experiments, like, I won't know if they're meditating now or not, have this teacher send energy or not. And I could guess 100% of the time when they were sending energy.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't subtle. I mean, depends on the teacher, but some gurus, when they send energy, it's like a fire hose. It's not like a trickle.
So are these Zooms that are available publicly, or
they are? And some of them are free. I'll give you a couple websites of people I respect that do this for free. They have one or two each week. And, there'll be a couple hundred people from 50 countries on the Zoom.
Oh.
And,
Wow.
I have a podcast called Awareness Explorers, and my co-host is very skeptical about this stuff. I mean, extreme, more so than you.
Right. Yeah.
And so I finally got him to go to one of them. And he said, how was it, Brian? And he said, I don't think there's anything there. I just happened to have the best meditation in my life, but I don't think it was due to him.
Right. It just by sheer luck, it happened.
Coincidence.
Now, did he try it again? Did he recreate the experiment?
He keeps going.
Oh,
I mean, that's
interesting.
But he doesn't. He
routine.
doesn't like to admit that it's the guy. He said, "Well, it just fits into my calendar, and it's a good time. I always have a good meditation. I don't know if anything's happening, but he's religious about it now.
That's funny.
Well, no. So if you give me those links, we'll add them to the show notes. So if you're interested in checking this out, because I am. I'm going to go and check it out because that sounds interesting.
So when you said that you could feel like 100% of the time when they were meditating, and that it was
Yeah.
like a hose, like what did that feel like? Was it like a mental mindset feeling, or was it like a physical, tingly feeling? What was that like?
Well, first you mentioned I am pretty sensitive to energy because I've done a lot of meditation, but I would call it like extremely deep peace. So I'm not able to really function for about half an hour afterwards, and I can't
Wow.
move because I feel like I am in an ocean of very deep, peaceful, silent energy. That would be my best description of it. But other people experience different things. Some people experience, Kundalini. Some people experience it more like a loving feeling.
I seem to have lost that.
You've lost that loving feeling.
Sorry.
That would be a great title for a song,
Oh,
It would be.
So I'm sorry, you were saying, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, so, it's pretty nice to be able to tap in, and these people offer it for free. And I think, everybody's different. So, some people like chocolate ice cream, some people like vanilla ice cream. Between the 3 teachers that I do meditations, some I like more than others. So you kind of have to try it out and see what works for you. That's true for any technique.
Sure. Yeah. And it's funny because I went to Yogaville. It's a ashram here in Virginia a while back, and they have this big lotus building that it was closed for repairs, except they would open it up every once in a while, and they'd ring the bell when it was open, and everybody just rushed to it. I was wondering why is everybody in such a hurry to you meditate here or there, right? It's not a big deal. I was finally able to make it one day, because you have to rush. They shut the doors after a certain amount of time. So I finally made it in there, and sure enough, I don't know whether it's the shape of the building or the amount of people meditating in there or what it is, but the energy is built up so strongly that it was some of the best meditations I've done was in that lotus flower building. I'm assuming it's maybe a little bit of both, right? It's the buildup of the energy and the shape of the building itself that.
Well, the first step to wisdom and to admit that we actually know probably almost nothing. And that what makes most things work is what I call PFM. Do you know what PFM stands for?
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Well, it's what makes most things work. Your iPhone, Zoom, everything.
Yes,
it stands for pure friggin' magic.
Yeah, well, thanks for cleaning it up for us. Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what? I'll take it. I love to believe in magic. It's very seldom shown to me.
It is. You just don't. Just label it something else.
I am labeling it something else. I'm right. Karen calls them little miracles. I call them coincidences or magic. But
well, it's interesting. I just finished. I wrote a book. It's out now called Ecstasy for Couples. I'm doing my next book, which I haven't titled yet, but it's about magic and miracles. So I've been writing down all the magic and miracles I've experienced in my life. And I thought it would be like 10 or 15. I've been around some very powerful people, and it ends up I'm up to 82.
Wow.
And they keep coming to me. Now, some of them are like gobsmacking. You can't in any way have any other interpretation.
Right.
And others are, well, that's a really bizarre coincidence that just happened.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole spectrum.
Right.
Now I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was a psychic studies major at UC Santa Barbara.
Psychic studies? No, I don't think you ever did.
Yeah. So I was in the scientific study of people with extraordinary abilities. They could, have out-of-body experiences. They could affect machines like random number generators and all kinds of things. So I started to get used to that. There are these abilities. They're rare, but I often ask people, have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain, something that struck you as like miraculous or like was beyond rationality? And I've done that for a lot of years, and about 70% of people say that they have had such an experience. And they usually love talking about it.
Yeah.
Because there's no avenue for nobody ever asked you that question.
Right.
Ends up, I've had a lot of them. What really strikes me as amazing is that I still have this materialistic worldview where I think things are, happen the way that, you and I tend to think. But then something will happen, like my one thing that happened is my glass got transported through the air into an impossible location with a bunch of people watching. And then you look at that and you go, I guess I really have no idea what's going on here.
Okay, you got to go a little deeper on that. What do you mean
I'll give the story because it's a pretty amazing story. People who know me, and I barely believe this myself, so I will understand your skepticism, but you'll see how this unfolds.
Okay.
I have what's called PK ability, meaning I can affect random number generators. And that's been done under laboratory conditions, and some people have that ability. So I can make 60 heads out of 100 rather than 50.
Wow, now I know how you got your money for all your gadgets.
Exactly.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas is very good to me. Anyway.
Right. It was, at least until now. Now they know your trick.
Outed him.
So, sometimes weird things happen around me, and my wife and I, we just call it the gremlin because it happens like once every 6 months. That something moves into a place where it really, how did my keys get into the salad drawer? Is stuff like that.
Right.
So anyways, my wife and I are going into the Senate in Ottawa, Canada, and they have really intense security there. So you have to, take off your belt and things like that, just like an airport. But the guy asked me to take off my glasses and put it in the tray. And I said, they never asked that in the airport. And they said, well, the security here is more intense to get into the Senate. So I take off my glasses, I put it in the tray. It goes through their X-ray machine or whatever it is. My wife is already through. She's in the Senate. But my glasses don't appear on the other end of it. And the guy notices that they're not there. And he says, your glasses must have gotten lost in the X-ray thing. And they stop the machine and they're looking for him. And they can't find him after like 5 minutes. And they're apologizing. This has never happened before. I hear this a lot. This has never happened before.
Right.
And I'm figuring, okay, my glasses will show up in an impossible location soon because that sometimes happens. So I'm there like 10 minutes and there's a big line now. There, people waiting, and they have 5 guys looking at the machine. They're taking it apart. They can't find the glasses. And I'm just sitting there because I can't leave.
Right. And it's like the drive-through in McDonald's where people are really mad at you now.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, my wife, who's in the Senate, calls me. My phone did come through, and she says, what's going on? I said, the gremlin, we call it the gremlin, made my glasses disappear. And she says, well, I know where they are. I said, what? Oh, where are they? And she said, well, when you didn't show up, I went into the zipper part of my purse to call you, and that's where your glasses are.
What?
Oh, wow.
And I go, wow. And then I go, what do I tell these guys? Because I can't tell them that. They'll cart me away. So I tell them, hey, no, I have 20 of those pairs. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And they let me go.
My wife has a pair in her purse right now, as a matter of fact.
But that was a good example of I have no explanation for that. Wow. And it was under a pretty controlled situation. Where a lot of people, and even video of it. So we have no explanation as to how that happens, but that type of stuff happens to me about every 6 months to a year.
Have you considered that maybe it is an actual gremlin that keeps moving stuff around? Or do you think it's just universe playing tricks?
It's an interesting question. There was a teacher in India named Sai Baba.
I know Sai Baba very well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I met somebody who was Sai Baba's assistant for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I asked him, does he do, is he really able to manifest stuff out of thin air? And he said, no, he doesn't. It's all a trick. And I had seen Sai Baba do that, where I am a amateur magician, and I was like a foot away from his hand, and there was no false thumb or anything. It looked totally real to me. He said, no, he doesn't manifest it. What happens is there's a ghost that delivers it to him the moment he needs it. And he said it the way that you and I would say, no, somebody like a person hands it to him in that moment. Like he didn't see that as magical at all.
Right.
It's totally explainable. He takes it from the warehouse 2 miles away, and the ghost delivers it the second he needs it. And I said, oh, that's nice to know that there's a rational explanation.
It's not magic at all.
All right. That clears everything up.
That's like the story with the nut.
Yeah, no, I was thinking exactly that.
Mhm.
Yeah. We had a story similar to that happen a little while ago where we were doing a live show, an interview on location is what we're doing. That wasn't a live show. It was an interview on location. And when we take all of our gear, the microphones are connected to these arms by this nut that goes in between the two.
Mhm.
And it's probably the size of maybe like a
It's like
quarter.
a nickel.
Yeah. But it's pretty thick. But as I was putting them on, Karen and I were sitting down in chairs just like we are now.
Mhm.
And when you're sitting down, your pockets
It's
kind of
couch.
it was it your pockets kind of fold in on themselves, so it's you're kind of compressed in a way. As I'm putting the nut in to place, it falls out of my hands, and Karen and I both watch it fall, bounce, and vanish.
Ah,
And it's on a white carpet.
Yeah.
So it's not like dark, hideable color. It's like pure white carpet.
yeah. So what do you do with that? What's your mind do with that? It's like you're saying this is friggin' impossible.
Oh,
right.
It gets worse.
Yeah. Okay.
It gets
we're
more
on
impossible.
our hands and knees, like running our fingers to the carpet, looking under couches. There was a stone fountain. I literally took all the stones apart. People, we had an audience. They were helping us look for this thing. They're lifting up chairs.
It was embarrassing, honestly, because we can't do this interview. Well, we ended up doing the interview holding the microphone
Holding
in
the
our hand.
arm.
Yeah. And so after the interview was over, and I felt bad, but I mean, couldn't find this thing. I was like, I'm gonna have to go home and have to buy another nut or something, figure this out. One of the audience members comes to me and she says, because I guess it's an audience full of magical people. And I said, and she says, I'm being told that you should check your pockets. Well, it would be impossible. We're sitting down. Our pockets are folded on themselves. There's no way a nut would
bounce
bounce
that way,
disappear, and end up in my pocket. So just to appease her, I put my hands in my pockets and I froze, because when I pulled my hands out of my right hand pocket, the damn nut was in my hand.
Yeah.
I have no explanation for that other than the gremlin.
Well, you borrowed my gremlin without asking.
It's a busy gremlin.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my wedding ring, we say that this house is eating things, because my wedding ring just disappeared. My glasses disappeared for a while. It was found in one of my shoes. My glasses. Yes.
I think these gremlins are there to just kind of remind us that the world isn't magical place, and they have a sense of humor. So they'll put it in your pocket or whatever it is, and then we go back to our the world isn't magical, everything's explainable, as our because that's the culture or the cult we're in, the culture we're in.
Right.
And it's important to be reminded. That's why I like asking people that question. Have you ever had anything unexplainable or miraculous? And get those reminders, not just from me, where I've had 80 of them, but or 82 of them, but from other people as well, like your story.
Well, I think it's interesting also because people tend to think about miracles, and you think of like the big things in the movies, like the Red Sea or, being parted or, massive things, but there's all these little things that can happen that are totally miracles. I'm having situations now where the universe or whoever will give me something right before I need it. Or like right at the moment I need it. Like I was making coffee the other day and I realized I was out of milk. And I'm like, gosh, like 6 months ago, I had bought some creamer for some reason. I don't remember why. I was making something and it required it in the recipe. And it was like in the pantry, kind of like shoved behind the shelf. I'm like, I think I still have that. I don't think I used the whole thing. So I go to walk into the pantry and I turn down the hallway where the pantry is. And right in the middle of the hallway is that thing of creamer.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Mhm.
I haven't used this thing in 6 months or however long it is.
Yeah.
Incredible. So I'll get
Yeah.
these little things like, here you go.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, universe, I'm going to need about $1.8 million tomorrow. So just, putting it out there right
Stairway's
now.
fine. Wherever you want to put it.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So Karen had a situation happen not long ago that showed me, not even the coffee thing, but the milk thing is the thing that freaks me out the most. But do you think something like this is that people talk about, like timeline shifting or universes, like we're jumping universes or things like that? Could that be the explanation for the gremlin?
Well, yeah, it could be. It could be ghosts. It could be, people from the planet Pleiades. I don't know. I mean, take the UFO phenomenon is interesting that way because it makes no sense that somebody's traveled from 100 light years to here, and there's all these different species and things. It makes no sense. But currently, the U.S. government has said there are technologies that we are seeing that we do not have, and we know nobody else has.
Right.
So basically, they're saying there's aliens on Earth.
So they're not saying it's aliens, but it's
No,
aliens.
they just say we know that's not human technology.
Right, exactly. And same thing with the remains, right? Non-human remains. Right? There's what that man in Congress testified.
Right,
under
right.
oath.
So that's another example of we don't really know what's going on. We always think we know. In the 15th century, they always thought that, or in 2000 BC, they thought lightning was a sign from God to do things, or eclipses or anything. We always have explanations. The explanations usually are wrong.
Right. Right. Well, I like to think that we're shifting realities because I can't explain a lot of the whole the Mandela effect stuff. There's so much of that out in the world that I can't think of it any other way, especially this thing that happened to you with the milk.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because that was you were in mid action.
So I'll tell you the milk story real quick. Will had gone to the grocery store and he'd picked up a few things for me, and I like texted him. And one of the things was a thing of milk because we were out. What?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So my daughter is pretty much the only one that drinks milk. And I think I was making something and I needed to put some in a recipe. So he's upstairs and I go to the refrigerator and I grab the milk and it's like almost all the way empty. Like I pick it up and it's like the weight, and I'm like, what the heck? There's no way she drank like half a quart of milk in 15 minutes. And, I would have noticed.
So obviously Will must have.
So obviously, I can't believe Will bought this milk. Because you know how people, like, there was that trend where they're opening ice creams and licking it and like putting the lids back on and like all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, someone opened the milk, drank a bunch. And Will
would never notice.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you don't usually do the grocery shopping. So I'm thinking this, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm walking over because now I'm going to have to throw this away. And as I'm walking to the counter, it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I'm having this whole thought process about it. I can't believe he bought this empty carton of milk or this halfway empty. By the time I get to the counter, it's full.
Yeah.
Totally full. And the thing, it was sealed, but like, I swear to God, it was empty. I picked it up and it was like, it was the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. I love those moments, and they really need to be reminders and stay in the unknown, so that your skeptical mind doesn't just crap on it.
Right.
One of the things I like is listening to people's near-death experiences. Because that's also something that we'll all experience. But there's so many people now who've had these similar experiences that show that the world and what human life is and reincarnation is very different than what we're taught.
Yeah.
And I don't know it's true, but I love being in the mystery. I don't know it's true with the aliens. I don't know it's true with Sai Baba. I don't know it's true with my glasses. But maybe, that's a good place to be, because you're like a child. You're more open to whatever is going on here.
Mm-hmm. And it's just it's more fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a more exciting way to live than everything is explained away.
But then you have minds like mine that, like Jonathan, there was a point where I was very much into magic, and every single magic trick was a trick.
Yeah.
So you go through life thinking, okay, what's the trick? Like, how did that happen? And you will tie yourself into a pretzel trying to explain in a materialistic way how that milk carton could have been empty and then filled up. You know, because they had a magic trick where you have an empty glass, and as you're putting it on the ground,
That's
it fills up, right?
Right.
So there's got to be a way. Someone put a trick milk carton in our refrigerator. That's all I can think about. Right?
David Bloom wasn't doing anything one day. He saw your house.
That's right.
Said, this will really get them going.
I have warned
he had
him
the
not to do
gremlin
that.
travel over to our house.
Well, when you have a website or a podcast called Skeptical Metaphysician, or whatever, that's going to attract those types of people.
Yeah. We should change the name to Leave Me Alone.
Oh no. That's weird.
That was weird.
Okay, so he said that and our whole computer screen just went black.
Yes. We thought we lost you, but no, it was just
It left you alone. It was the universe saying, okay.
Yeah. No,
See? Be careful what you ask
just
for.
Just kidding. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So we've talked about these doodads and gadgets and stuff like that. There's also we kind of slightly sort of touched on the psychedelic consciousness expansion that you use MDMA for lots of different reasons, not specifically consciousness expansion, or do you?
Well, I use it for whatever will help the person I'm working with. It's, it could be for trauma or anxiety, or I work with a lot of couples. It was originally a couples therapy drug when it was legal in the 70s. That's how it got its name, that ecstasy, because it brought two people into an ecstatic place that would heal their relationship really quickly.
Right.
And then after a while, other people discovered it, other than therapists, and it became part of the rave scene and the whole thing. But
which then became much more of a couples drug after that, again, because people became
circling around there. Yeah. But I'm a former psychotherapist, but I do a lot of therapy now with that drug, because you can do 2 years of therapy in an afternoon. It's just very efficient if you're guided properly. So that's what those books are about, and it's really moving work. Couples therapy. A lot of people are having trouble with couples now. It's a hard time for couples, and unfortunately, couple counseling is a long, slow slog for most couples. Whereas, if you take ecstasy together, you have a 5-hour therapy session, you can often handle all those issues that have been keeping you annoyed at each other. And it's just a great, we need the best tools now, because it's a stressful time. So whether it's a gadget or a psychedelic or a new technique, or the other thing that's going to affect consciousness a lot is AI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
25% of Americans are using AI for mental health now.
How does that work? Because I don't really understand that, because I would think it would be anti-mental health.
No, you go to Chat GPT and you just use it as a therapist. You say, I'm having trouble with anxiety and my partner is doing this. What can I do to feel better? And it will give you really good results most of the time. And I've worked and I said, wow, that's what I would say,
Wow.
And I charge
scary.
more.
Right. Way more, I'm sure.
Wow.
Yeah. So when it comes to MDMA therapy, the couples therapy, you mentioned in the 5-hour session, you sit down and you work through all these things that you're having, these issues that you're having. How do you get them to stop dancing with the light sticks for all that time? That's what I want to know, because that's all I ever want to do. I mean, that's what friends of mine wanted to do when they were on MDMA.
People often are surprised that they enjoy doing a 5-hour deep dive therapy session. It's a very flexible, it's like a Swiss Army knife. It's very flexible. If you want to do the best therapy session of your life, I tell a story which is pretty funny. My parents always asked me, why are you working with this, illegal drug? And I said, well, you really got to know what it does. It's pretty amazing. And I said, and they said, okay, can we try it? Now they're conservative. And I was surprised. I said, yeah, I'd love to give it to you. So I gave him the drug, told him how to get a nice setting. A year later, I asked them if they took it, and they said, yeah, we took it. And I said, what happened? And they said, it didn't, there was no effect. It didn't work. We waited like 20 minutes and nothing happened. Well, it takes about 45 minutes for it to take effect. Mm-hmm. So I said, what happened after the 20 minutes? Their eyes lit up and they said, well, we had nothing planned that evening. So we sat on the couch, and it ends up, we had the best night of our entire marriage. We talked about how much we love each other and how grateful we were. And we'd had some arguments the prior week, and we worked all that out in a couple of hours. It was amazing. And then we cuddled on the couch. The only disappointment was the drug never took effect. I'm laughing the whole time. Gosh. Of course, that's the effect of the drug, but it really just makes you feel like your most loving, open, non-defensive self, which is the best way to do therapy.
Right.
And, whether it be AI or psychedelics or gadgets, we need all the help we can get right now.
Yeah. And
people who are making use of these evolutionary tools, I think, are handling the stresses of modern day life a lot better.
Mm-hmm. So AI is being used for mental health purposes now, like you mentioned, all that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on it for spiritual guidance? Can AI do that?
Well, I recently took a retreat in which they had what's called a meditation bot. And you tell them, you write in there or you speak to it what your current meditation experience is, as much detail as possible. And it gives you, I've been around a lot of meditation teachers, a lot of really famous ones. This bot was better than any of those teachers. It was more precise. It was more nuanced. It was actually better advice. I was just floored, like, oh my God.
Well, that's interesting because there was an app that I tried a while ago. I forgot what it's called now, but it was this incredible meditation app.
Yeah.
And I was so excited because it would take you on these journeys, and it was an entire year's worth of stuff. It was like it's very specific track you go on. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing it. And after a while, I started like, this sounds very, I don't know, something weird about it. It turns out it was all AI.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it. But I was not really dropping in that well because I don't know if the tone wasn't right or the speed at which it spoke, or I don't know what it was, but something was cluing me in that this is not for me. I ended up leaving the app because every single one was a different AI meditation teacher, and it just didn't feel authentic.
Well, we use the same term AI for what's happening now and what happened a year ago, and they're not that similar. It'd be like, if I confused the two of you,
it happens all the time.
Yeah. But, you look so much alike and everything.
I mean,
so
we're both red-faced, dark hair.
So AI is getting about twice as smart every 6 months, which is a little scary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember doing a meditation bot maybe 8 months ago, a year ago. I thought, this is crap. This isn't helpful at all. Mm-hmm. And the one I did last month, it was like, that's a completely different technology.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. Well, what people don't know is that when we started the show, we were actually humans. Now, this you're talking to two AIs right now. It's pretty cool. It's pretty far advanced.
It's pretty convincing, but I knew there was something going on.
Right. We were way funnier now than we were back then, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Will and Karen were never that funny.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Right.
Oh so my gosh.
I'm glad you think we're funny now.
Hey.
Yeah, sorry. At least that's what I'm taking by it. But so then you think that AI is getting to the point, will eventually get to the point where it will completely replace spiritual leaders?
Well, I think there's always going to be a segment of the population that wants the human interaction. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's something there. There's that, gurus can send energy. Mm-hmm. And there can be like a mother-father and a parent-child relationship that can be useful, or a certain type of devotional energy that you can have towards a teacher or guru. I certainly had that with my teacher. But in terms of information and specifics, I think AI will replace that just because it can do it better, faster, cheaper, and more convenient. There's now these Facebook glasses.
Right.
And the future is that you'll just be talking to your glasses, like, what do I need to know now to handle this situation? Or I want to ask this woman on a date, what's your advice? And it'll just give you that information right then and there. That's the future. And that's not that far off.
Well, what if you don't wear glasses?
Then you'll just wear Apple AirPods. And
AirPods. Well, I can go that. Yeah.
Wow, that's just really incredible. I don't know how. I think I'm going to be in that school that prefers the human aspect of it. I don't know. I mean,
or really, it's not one or the other. It's not like because you eat pizza, you can't have a salad. You can have pizza and a salad. You can have a human and AI, and they each have their strengths, and they each have their weaknesses.
Yeah, so I've been a lifelong fan of science fiction, and I was telling Karen the other day, we're living in the world that we saw on movies and televisions 30 years ago. We're living it. And when I was just sitting here waiting for the flying cars, for me, the flying cars would say we made it to the future. Well, there's no flying cars, but there's everything else around me. So I'm
except
completely
for the food and the pills.
Yeah, we don't want the food.
We don't want the food and the pills. Like here's your lobster dinner.
I like eating too much. Yeah, but I've been blind to everything that's going on around me. We are in the future. We just don't have flying cars. So where's my damn flying cars? That's all I want to know.
Well, they actually do have them in Dubai now.
They do have
flying cars.
They're drones that can get 2 people, and they're completely computer controlled. And they exist. Just put flying cars Dubai and you'll find them.
Oh my God.
And they have the peopleless taxis, in California?
Yeah.
Like in LA, I think.
But then they don't fly though.
Well, I know, but they don't have any people driving them. That's pretty impressive too.
That is impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah. Well, whatever happens, we get used to. So, we're talking, I don't even know where you are, but we're having a conversation like you're right here.
Yeah.
And first time you Zoom or you do this, you go, well, that's amazing. And now it's like, if there's a glitch for 1 second, you think, well, this piece of crap, what's wrong with it?
That's true.
Right. Yeah. That's where the most powerful mantra comes in, right? You gotta be thankful for everything. But,
gotta be thankful.
So, Jonathan, is there anything that we haven't talked about you want to make sure that you call out? Because we've ran a whole gamut of stuff. I don't want to forget something.
Well, you just mentioned that like gratitude is a method as that we need really simple methods nowadays. And I'm kind of a method junkie. I collect methods like some people collect baseball cards. I especially find ones that can be done in 20 seconds or less useful. So in a prior episode, we talked about the thank you mantra that you say thank you for this thing, and you take 5 seconds, you feel your heart, and you say thank you to God or the universe or whatever. And that's powerful medicine that we need because we do take this for granted. Once we leave this podcast, we'll go to the refrigerator. Well, they didn't have those 100 years ago. And then I'll turn on, YouTube, and there's 20 billion videos I can watch for free. I mean, that's pretty amazing. But if you don't take a moment to feel grateful for it, then it all passes you by. Another mantra I use, and this is a mantra to create immediate distance from your thoughts, because I don't know about your thoughts, but sometimes my thoughts bother me. They say stupid stuff. They get focused on the politics, and
they get in that loop.
Yeah, you get that loop. So if you say this mantra 3 times in the right tone of voice, it really helps stop that loop. And it sounds like this: blah blah blah.
Does that really work? Because I'm going to try it.
Because what happens is you're saying to that looping thought, I know your story. It's not even that interesting now. Just, shut the hell up.
I love that.
You come with all the wisdom, Jonathan. That's why I love having you on the show. That is a magical. I mean, where did you find it? On the scroll somewhere in the backwoods of Africa, in the outback somewhere?
Well, no, I'll tell you, it's an interesting story how I came upon that one.
Oh, all right.
Which is one of the miracles. So, I've taken a fair amount of psychedelics in my time, and for me, it's just very relaxing and beautiful, and I seem very normal, other than I'm blissed out. So a friend of mine who guides these trips says, I want to give you a lot of psychedelics. So, in the psychedelic world, 5 grams of mushrooms is considered a heroic dose.
Right.
So she said, I want to start you on 10 grams of mushrooms.
Oh.
And then I'm going to give you a massive shot of ketamine. You won't be able to talk.
Oh, wow.
Said, okay, that sounds interesting. So I take these drugs and I'm talking the whole time, but it's more like channeling, which I never had done before.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes out of my mouth is a being that says, I want to offer these methods to the world. And one of the methods was blah, blah, blah.
It sounds like me on a Friday night after too many drinks.
It does. But
Wait,
you stop
what do you
thinking
mean?
about politics.
That's true. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Jonathan, for coming on again. We have the time flies every time we're with you. We have so much fun with you. I know you've got a couple of websites. Want to make sure that people pay attention to. If someone wanted to reach out, learn more about you, listen to your show, how can people do that?
Well, there's the magical way through Vulcan Mind Meld. But if you want a more traditional way, let's see, theenlightenmentproject.net or XTC as medicine.com. And then I do a podcast where I interview spiritual leaders, and that's Awareness Explorers. That's the name of the podcast.
All right. Well, if you're watching,
and people can reach me through any of those websites.
Okay. If you're watching the video, you will have seen the websites magically appear on screen. But if you're only listening, go to our show notes. They're all going to be laid in there, easy for you to find. So just go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to Jonathan's episode page. You'll see those links laid in there. So it's easy for you to connect. Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with us.
Yeah.
So much fun, and keep asking people about the unexplained, miraculous things in their life. Once you get surrounded by that, you start to look at the world like, what is going on around here?
You're right. I think we need to focus on that more. So I'm gonna
maybe that's like the final question of our interviews.
Oh, I like that idea. Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. we're totally stealing your idea, Jonathan. Just so we're clear here. We're going to be asking that to every one of our guests now. What magical thing has happened to you? But I think actually I'm going to start carrying around a little notebook in my pocket and start writing it down.
That's a good idea.
I used to do that and I forgot. So I'm going to start doing that now.
Yeah, it's a great idea because I only came up with like a dozen originally. And then they kept on coming to me like, oh yeah, and that and that. And then my wife would tell me, well, how about this? And soon I had a whole book full.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's the same thing happens to me with my keys. My wife is like, what about the keys? Oh, I don't know. All right, Jonathan, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure. We look forward to the next one because I know it'll be not long from now.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Thank you guys for watching the Skeptic Metaphysicians. We will be back again next month, second Tuesday of the month. You never know. It might just be Karen and I. It might be some other magical guest. Stay with us and you will find out. Until then, we'll see you on the next one. Ciao. Where is the end video? Here it is.